channel. It's Youre. And of course, I got a topic today. I got a real big topic today. And this topic is about the fear of abandonment. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this is because I've been going through some things lately. And it has totally been affecting the way that I deal with people, with friends, with new people that I meet, in the workplace, whatever the case may be. What does it mean to have fear of abandonment? What does abandonment mean? Abandonment is simply leaving something unattended, leaving something without explanation, leaving, just walking out on something or giving up on something, or to abruptly neglect your duties or your relationship with the person, to leave something stranded. So it is a combination of all of these things. But when it comes to relationship, that is where the emotions are tied to it. And the reason that emotions tied to abandonment is so serious, because if you were like a young person who maybe was, orphaned, or, raised in a single parent home, but you watched your father or mother walk out on you, or you've been in relationships where people just walk away from you, or you've always dealt with the idea that you're not good enough to be kept. The way that we deal with life is based on our experience. So if you always experience meeting someone, a friend or a loved one, or anyone in your family, they come into your life and maybe they leave your life. Or maybe you have people that come into your life and they only are looking for one thing, whether it's because you have money, maybe because you're popular, maybe because they just want to have sex with you, maybe because you just have something that they want, or they want to get close to you for whatever other envious reasons. Some people just have that type of malice in their heart. But when you are so used to people coming into your life and neglecting or leaving you abruptly for no reason, or not really providing any explanation as to why they're doing that, you start to really feel like, well, what is wrong with me? It's really not an easy thing to deal with, okay? Because even if somebody comes into your life with good intentions, you always question, like, okay, when is this person going to leave me? Because I know they will, because people leave. That's all people do. They come into your life and then they leave. Having abandonment issues makes it very hard to have healthy relationships with people. So in order for you to get to the bottom of that and start to heal that piece of you, you really have to figure out, okay, who do I need to forgive? Think about your past. Who walked out on you? Who did it? Whether or not it was because of something you did or not, and 9 times out of 10, it's not because of something that you've done, you still want to just forgive. And that might take a lot of time. Forgiveness is not something that you just say, okay, I forgive this person, and then you're okay. Like, it doesn't happen like that. It happens over time. Just like them hurting you built up over time, you forgiving them and moving past that hurt is going to take some time as well. But the most important thing is to recognize that you have these issues. I know my dad walked out on me when I was young, but that's okay, because he was dealing with his own issues. That had nothing to do with me. That does not speak to my worth. That does not speak to my value as a person, as a human being, as a woman. And you may have to do this several times a day for several months in a row. You know what I'm saying? It depends on your degree of hurt. You cannot move past the fear of abandonment if you don't forgive the people who abandoned you in the past. Understand that a lot of times when you meet new people and you start to push them away, they don't understand that, because unless you have given them true insight on what you fear and how you deal with people in relationships, they won't understand where you're coming from. It could come off to them as, you're pushing me away because you don't like me. Be really clear about why you're pushing someone away, because a lot of times we only push people away because we fear getting too close to them and them abandoning us. Therefore, we try to abandon them first. It's a control thing. We try to protect ourselves from being hurt, and that's not healthy either. Don't start pushing people away until you have some hardcore evidence that somebody is really just not there for you for the right reasons. Then you can be clear about, hey, I'm going to go ahead and step away. I'm gonna go ahead on and tap out, because I don't really like the energy that you're giving off. You're not really showing me that I can feel safe in relationship with you, so I'm gonna bow out. And that's totally fine too. The rule of spiritual law is that if you fear something enough, that you'll bring it to you. And when you start to fear abandonment from the people that you love or like or whatever, then it starts to happen to you, and then you don't understand it. Well, it's because the fear that you have is so strong, and we gotta work on lessening that. And speaking over ourselves, the fear of abandonment has no power over me. Say that to yourself every single day until you don't feel it anymore. Because, boo, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that people walked out on you. It's okay, in fact, because if you really think about it, if you are the type of person that can walk away from me, you never deserve to be in my life in the first place. Maybe we're just not meant for each other. Maybe that job is not for you. Maybe that friendship has to end. Maybe that relationship has to end. Because how could you ever feel safe in a relationship if someone just ups and walks out? Fear of abandonment makes you need words of affirmation all the time, right? And some people just are not equipped for that, which is fine. And I'm not saying that you have to find someone who is going to do this for you all the time, because essentially we have to build ourselves up strong enough to where we can maintain relationships without having to get that from people all the time. You know, as long as someone is showing you through their actions that they're there for you, that could be okay. Now, I'm not saying that you should not expect words of affirmation, because those are very important, especially if that is your love language. But sometimes we put too much responsibility on people and we give people too much credit when they're really not even emotionally intelligent enough to even understand where you're coming from. That is why it's so important to make sure that you're dealing with someone who is sensitive to your feelings, or just sensitive in general. Like, if I want to talk to you about situations that really, really matter, things that are going on in the world, and mental health and physical health in the Black community, and you do not understand how someone could be so hurt or why people do the things that they do, it makes you feel like, okay, you don't understand people or emotions. And so that's a red flag to me. You're not in tune enough. So when I tell you about my issues, I can't expect that you would understand me. And it's very important when you're dealing with someone that they understand you. Sometimes when we are in like relationships with people and they start to show us things, we feel like, oh my goodness, I'm triggered. This reminds me of what so-and-so did before they abandoned me. And you don't understand that. It's kind of just like a slap in the face. Everybody in this world wants to be understood at some point or another. That's why people have arguments. That's why people have debates. That's why you see all of these things happening on social media where you go back and forth with people. It's because people truly desire to be understood. Some of these matters are very trivial, you know, don't really matter. But when it comes to your emotional well-being and how you love people, or, you know, how you communicate, how you just maneuver through life in general, you want people to understand you. And I'm not saying that you have to agree with everything that I'm saying, but you have to understand. When people show you that they don't bend for understanding, it's a red flag. I really want you to be okay with letting people walk out of your life, okay? Because it will bring you so much liberation. Only because it builds up your trust in yourself. You don't have to be the person that's like, oh, I don't care if you leave my life. I can do bad all by myself. I'm independent enough to do this alone. I don't need this person. I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. You don't have to put the pride in it, but humble yourself and say, you know what? I'm hurt by you abandoning me or walking out on me, but because you did, I have greater insight on who you are and who I am, and I know now how to move forward from this. I won't let this bring me down so low to where I don't want to meet other people. Because truly, your fear of abandonment, if you let it have power over you, it will prevent you from having better relationships. And we heal through experience, so you have to continue to allow yourself to open yourself up to meet other people so that you can have greater experiences. They're coming. They're coming. Please don't believe for 1 second that every single person you meet will hurt you or leave you. That's only true if you believe that. And because I have been growing and learning so much, I'm learning how to let things go. Some stuff you just gotta let blow in the wind, really, honestly and truly, because the tighter that you hold on to something, the worse you can make it. Whatever is meant for you will flow to you. If you gotta chase after it, if you gotta wrap it around your arm real tight and so that it doesn't go anywhere or leave, if you have to do all these different things to make sure that you have someone or something in your life for just company or whatever, then you're doing it wrong. You are special. You are important. You deserve happiness. You deserve somebody who shows up for you every day. You deserve to have somebody who commits to you. You deserve to have relationships that last. Believe that you are able to hold on to every relationship that you have, especially a healthy one, and just trust your gut. Do not ignore any red flags. If you ever feel triggered in a relationship when it comes to abandonment, maybe someone told you that they will call you and they don't until a day or two later. If that triggers you, let that be known. Sometimes people show you behaviors that look like abandonment, like early abandonment, and you're like, okay, hey, you're drifting off, you're getting a little bit different, has anything changed, what's going on? Ask the questions. It's okay to communicate. Now, what they say after you ask the questions is up to them, and how you respond is up to you. But don't let nobody play you at the end of the day. Don't let nobody play you. If you feel like you see red flags after red flag, then go ahead and do what's best for you. Ask yourself, is this my trauma that's speaking to me, or is it truly this person's actions? Learning yourself means that you know when it's a trigger. You know when it's just your trauma speaking. you know that this person is really not meaning you any harm, but you have to get to that place, and you cannot learn your trauma if you do not evaluate your trauma. So spend some time thinking about, the last time you were angry or the last time you felt triggered, and write it down so that you can learn yourself. Why does it trigger me so bad that I haven't heard from you in a few hours? Well, because the last time that happened, I was waiting for someone to show up for me and they never did. It could be as simple as that, but you gotta know it. Thanks so much for watching today. I really, really hope that you move past your fear of abandonment if that is what you have. I'm doing my best to work past it. And listen, I'm not holding nobody up. I'm speaking my mind. I'm feeling the way that I feel. Because like I've always been saying, I'm getting older. This is not the time to hold back on how I feel. I want to be very, very crystal clear about what it is that I want. And that may change from a day-to-day basis. It's okay to change your mind. You can change your mind at any given moment. Maybe you feel like this one day and you feel like that another day. But as long as you are clear on it and you know how to maneuver, then you're fine. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next Friday.